Nikon Zr, the first camera from the collaboration with Red now that Nikon owns them. And what do we have? The Z Cinema camera with a micro SD card slot. Okay, I figured out what this was for. Yes, you can record video to it, but the camera does take CF Express cards, so I'm not going to fault it for that. But this camera is an odd one, and but I do like it. I do like the camera, and I do like the images that come out of the camera. I have had the last Nikon camera that I had was the Nikon D800, and I got that camera because it had a Sony sensor, I remember at the time, and it was a great camera for video. Now, I paired this up here with the Blazar anamorphic lens, and I used the Megadapt Pro Plus, adapter, and it did work. It worked fine, but there are some weird quirks that I noticed using it. And one thing I can tell you right now is I did film the auto show with it. I would never use this camera as for a paid job unless I was using Nikon lenses because with this adapter, it's just not reliable enough. I did have a couple of, problems with it where it stopped focusing. I think it's fine if you wanna use it and you wanna use it with manual focus, but the whole idea why you wanna get this adapter here is you want it for the autofocus. And another thing to to keep in mind is those pins on there. This thing is really fragile, and you don't wanna touch you wanna hold it like just like this on the outside. You don't wanna get any of your skin oils on those pins, otherwise you're gonna have more problems. Side of the camera, it does have a microphone jack and a headphone jack, and the camera is so tiny, it can only facilitate a micro HDMI port. Let me go ahead and pull the cover off of that so you can see it. The covers seem to be very solid, even though they're kind of dangling around when you pull them off. Also, it does have a USB-C port there, very fast for charging the camera. I don't have the optional charger, so I just charged the camera battery, and the battery lasts a long time, by the way. I was getting a couple hours out of the battery, shooting it, worked great. And, this was like the a little bit less than 6K. Everything that I was shooting here was like that 5 point something K that I was shooting with. Because when I first got the camera, all I had was the micro SD card to record with. I didn't have, the CF Express card that would work with this camera at the time. Other than that, like, it is a nice camera. It's kinda weird that it's also a photo camera, because it seems so it's got so many video features to it, which is kind of interesting, but, I did shoot a few stills with it, it worked pretty good, but really the showstopper with this camera is that rear LCD, which is really nice. I mean, you get used to it, and you just don't wanna go back to anything else, but, um, for me I like a viewfinder, so I really wish I don't know if they can do it or they'll probably do it on the next version, is have a viewfinder. That was really the kind of what's holding me back with this camera. I mean, other than a couple other quirks that I'll show you, which are just really strange, but, I just since this is the first offering from this collaboration with Red, I just have to imagine that there's gonna be better cameras down the road. I just kinda think this camera is kinda thrown together kinda last minute, and I'll show you why in a second, um, right here. So I was looking over the camera when I first got it, and I was like, "Oh, this camera looks pretty good." I was like, "Oh, the build quality looks pretty good." I'm like, well, what is going on here? Do you see that hole there? That's a registration pin. And I'm gonna freeze frame the video in a second. I'm gonna show you where that should be. It should be right there. See where I've frozen? It'd be up a little bit, but it right there is where that hole should be. And what that's for is that this is if it's a camcorder, that's why you have that pin, and it locks it in place, which is great. Um, Mirrorless cameras don't have this. Camcorders do, professional camcorders do, and it's a really handy feature, and most tripods feature that registration pin, locking pin, so you can lock your camera so it doesn't move around. Well, why is it on the side like that? It makes absolutely no sense. It was like this like, we need to throw that in there." It's like somebody put it in the wrong spot. It's very odd. So here on this, I also use these, Tamron 35 to 150 with that Megadap adapter, and that's actually where I was having a lot of issues because sometimes the focus would stop, it would stop working, I would have to reboot the camera. That's another reason why I would only use Nikon lenses, at least for a paid job. I mean, also, that Megadap adapter, it just seems a little fragile if you were using it, taking it on the camera and off the camera. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I just from using it, it just I think if you're gonna use this camera, I mean, if I was gonna use this camera a lot, I think I would get, the Tamron. I believe Tamron makes a Z mount lens, adapted. I would be using something like that and testing it. Would really, after a while using this camera kinda slowed me down, is I was testing a lot of Sony cameras, and they both have viewfinders on them. The, A7 V and the FX2 at the time, is what I was testing, and I just really like a viewfinder, but that's me, okay? And I'm sure down the road, they're gonna have, I mean, they're gonna have a camera with a viewfinder as well. So, and I'm sure it's gonna be a lovely viewfinder. Who knows? Maybe they'll have a viewfinder adapter for this camera, I don't know. But, really for me, that's what I kinda would want. But it's really nice. This camera can shoot the camera can shoot R3D NE, recording format internally, which is really nice, but it does take up a tremendous amount of space on your card, but, it can do it. And, that's great, and it does it internally, so you don't need an external recorder. This camera gives you a lot of bang for your buck. But anyway, that's kinda like my review of the camera, kinda playing with it for about 2 months. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.